All right, guys, it's all over. Pack it up. We're done. Everything's
What?
done here.
What?
Corporations are getting involved. We have to leave.
Oh.
Not us personally, but corporations are getting involved. We have to. Tristan, did you actually think I was saying we're done with the podcast?
I mean, lights and everything started shutting off, and I heard the production crew like throwing shit on the ground and like walking out, and
production crew.
equipment getting just packed up. I was a little concerned for a second.
Production crew. I didn't realize you hired your cats to be part of our production crew. Frankly, I don't think we have enough crunchies to go around. I don't know if we can give them all the crunchies they need to subsist. You can feed them normally, but I don't know if we can give them extra for actually being part of the production crew.
Got it.
Okay. So now your cats are just like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Your cats are furious. Anyway, more importantly, guys, we're talking about a very interesting story today that might change It's funny. This one particular purchase might not change much, but I think it's talking about just the general landscape, and that's kind of what I want this conversation to be about, Tristan. Just you and I talking about where this might be going and where this might be headed. So AT&T buys out Crunchyroll's Otter Media. And it's funny because Tristan was like, what? Because that's the title of the article, which again will always be description box down below. But when you actually look into it, Crunchyroll is owned by Otter Media. AT&T bought Otter Media. So of course it's like, but what does this mean for Crunchyroll? It's not like Crunchyroll's dying because they want, that's the interesting thing, Tristan. They want a piece of that anime pie.
Right.
And that's where we open up this discussion, kind of like where this is going into the future, because of course, all of us know, as much as we love television, it is dying a slow, and not painful, I think, maybe painful for some channels, but a slow death. We love it, but things are streaming, like television is now trying to compete with streaming. I don't think it's going to be able to do that for the next 100 years.
Yeah.
TVs will exist. I'm not saying your TV is gonna go,
right?
Because obviously it's like no. We're not gonna watch everything on tablets and iPhones and computers, in my opinion.
Yeah,
TV will still exist, but just like with the radio, how radio transformed, going from radio dramas, which still do exist, but not so much on the radio itself, to the radio being a place to have music. And also talk radio, where it went from having stories, everything like that, to having a lot of not only like just the news, but also people's reactions to the news. Whatever political party you align with, I'm sure you'll find a station that will cater to you. If you don't want any of the politics, you just listen to music all day long. That of course caters to you as well when it comes to radio, but the old, the dramas, kind of like those Doctor Who dramas that we still do have, but we don't really see them on the radio anymore, and there's a reason for that. Things change. So when it comes to television and cable and things like that, we're slowly seeing that dying off, or seeing the ratings dip lower and lower, where there's ratings on TV now, Tristan, where it's like, oh, we got 4 million, yay! Where if you got 4 million in the 90s, your show would have been considered a complete failure.
Right.
Like a flop.
Yeah.
Like in the 90s, if your show, your debut episode got 4 million views,
right,
it's like, oh god, this is the worst. Axe it. There's some shows on the air right now, depending on the network, that are getting like 0.97, so like 970,000, viewers.
Right.
And it's like, well, depending on what network it's on, or, you know what, it might be nearing the end, but it's not considered an outright failure yet. It's kind of an oof, but it's not a failure.
Right.
And that's just because of the fact that people are moving to digital streaming, right? People are watching us on YouTube. Hi. Or others. People are watching us on YouTube. People are listening to our podcasts. People are listening, people are in terms of entertainment, other kinds of entertainment that isn't like, reviews. Although we have stuff that aren't reviews, but you know what I mean, Tristan. Like for anime itself, we don't make anime. You go to Crunchyroll for that. You go to a bunch of other places for that. So now we have these companies that not only are starting their own streaming services, but some of them, I think, in my opinion, are being smarter about it. Not, I'm talking about these companies that have billions of dollars, and I'm going, oh, let's start this streaming service and, kind of split the pie up, kind of like split it up a bit too much.
Right.
How about we just buy something that already exists? So now we have AT&T buying Otter Media, which means that they technically buy Crunchyroll. But now, Tristan, we have Sony that has a lot of money in Funimation.
Right.
Uh-oh. What's going on with that Funimation Crunchyroll marriage? Are they doing okay? There trouble in paradise?
Oh
is there trouble in Funny Roll? is it Funnyroll or is it Crunchymation? We had this discussion when we actually talked about this a while ago. Do we go with Funimation? Or rather, not Funimation. Do we go with Crunchymation?
I think it was Funnyroll.
Okay, we liked Funnyroll. Okay, but still, is Funnyroll going to be okay? Comment down below. Tell us what you think. But no, but seriously though, Tristan, you see, like, do you, like, you see where this is going? All jokes aside about, you know, the marriage and there being a split. Are you hopeful for our new streaming overlords, or are you, does this make you wary in any way? Not Crunchyroll not Crunchyroll closing down.
Yeah.
Although you could say that too, but not Crunchyroll closing down. I mean, like, this idea that now we're going to have, instead of us paying for cable and paying an exorbitant amount, in some cases, I know in some packages, some people probably only pay $30. Other ones are a bit more expensive, though, of course. Instead of that, going for, oh, let me cut cords, but now I have to choose between going with, you know, the AT&T package or this package just for online streaming to get something like Crunchyroll.
Right, that would be kind of terrifying.
Yeah,
but either way, go in that direction.
Same, but either way, in my opinion, it is only because of the fact that I'd rather have something, even though I didn't have the choice with cable until, you know, you get DVR, you don't really have the choice. For a long time, you didn't. Even though I don't have the choice, and even though it can still be a lot of money, in some cases, not just $30 once you add on stuff like DVR and, you know, etc., etc., etc. But still, it is a little frustrating if I have to sit there and pay, you know, $70 a year for Disney service or X amount a year for this service and this service. All of a sudden, you're like, wait, is this more expensive than cable? I think this is actually more expensive than cable was. God damn it. But anyway, back to you though, Tristan, because I want to hear your take on this. Putting aside what I've said, are you wary about this in any way?
I mean, sort of, kind of, but not really at the same time.
Well, because
let them do their own, like, what they've been doing so far.
Oh, okay, yeah. So if it's just business as usual at Crunchyroll, nothing changes in terms of their business operations.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily affect us, which is true. Us being the consumer.
Yeah.
It won't affect us if they don't change anything. However, the issue then becomes because bigger companies are getting involved. Not saying that Otter Media wasn't a big company, but now that we have like the AT&Ts, and then we have Sony with Funimation, and of course we had Amazon, you know, try and of course spectacularly fail with Amazon Strike. Or Anime Strike, but the question, I wanted to talk, I don't think we got to talk about how hard that flopped. I think we had to skip that because we jumped really far ahead. But I think I want to talk about how badly that flopped, but that's a different story altogether. The point is that when it comes to now these bigger corporations, do we then get a situation where things might change because it might, like, more money might be put into Crunchyroll, so then Crunchyroll ends up getting exclusive streaming licenses. Now, granted, Crunchyroll is free, so if it's, you know, free with ads, so, like, I wouldn't care if they got something exclusive compared to Amazon's, you know, double paywall, which that was frustrating. But still, though, it would hinder competition, in my opinion. And I say hinder in the sense that, you know, I think it hinders competition if companies put, you know, that have all this money behind them, put so much money down to get exclusive rights. Unless, of course, they have, like, they're in the production committee, then I don't mind. Like, I don't mind Warner Brothers getting involved with Fooly Cooly. Because let's remember, it's technically Warner Brothers. Yes, it's Adult Swim. Yes, it's Cartoon Network. But at the end of the day, it's Warner Brothers. I don't have a problem. I don't have one with Warner Brothers getting involved with Fooly Cooly because they were working with them behind the scenes. Also, we have Netflix as well getting involved with anime behind the scenes. That's why they get exclusive streaming rights to certain shows. I'm okay with it if they come in grassroots. The problem with Amazon was they weren't coming in grassroots. They were just finding shows that they thought were interesting, thought that would work out really well for them. And then they just said, yeah, you know what? We're going to pay God knows how many thousands, buy out certain anime, and no other company can stream them or put them on DVD. It's just for us. And you have to do a double paywall to get it. And it was just like, no, I'm not going to pay, what was it, like, even if you didn't have Prime, you could pay $10 for Amazon Video and then $25 for Amazon Strike. I think maybe the cheapest $17. So let's say it's $17. That's still $27 just for 3 exclusive anime. I don't care how good they are, unless they got like Super.
Yeah.
And even then, I'd be like,
Right.
I'd still be a little wary paying $27 a month. Because, misconception, with Amazon Prime, I'm sorry, with Amazon Strike, you didn't actually need Prime. You could have had Prime, but you could have also just gotten Amazon Video for 10 a month.
Right.
And then gotten, but it's still a double paywall regardless, though.
Yeah.
Either way, though, now with these bigger corporations coming in, we might get stuff like that. We might get companies bidding to hell and potentially crashing the market in a similar way to, if you remember, Tristan, and I know we were a bit young for this, but you know, we obviously internet exists, we can look back and see how this happened. Once anime like Dragon Ball Z, Evangelion, and a bunch of other bigger anime started kind of ballooning some of these prices for anime, all of a sudden companies in the US were paying Evangelion and Dragon Ball Z prices for shows that were not performing at that level. They were good shows, but they weren't that good.
Right.
And then what happens? It tanks. Because all of a sudden you have these companies going, these Japanese companies going, yes, our anime is worth this much, clearly. And the US side goes, but we can't afford to keep up our operations and buy this new anime. And then what happens? The prices tank.
Right.
So I don't want that to happen. But, you know, and also just this idea that I worry that, even though I don't think it's going to happen, well, it's funny. I think it would happen with other niches or other venues, other avenues of streaming before it happens to anime. But I also don't want there to be an anime streaming crash in terms of a bunch of other anime streaming services either popping up or these three getting pushed to hell because of their bigger corporate backers.
Yeah.
And potentially screwing over something like High Dive.
Right.
Where I don't know who's backing High Dive, to be fair. Maybe it's another corporate. Hell, maybe Google owns it. I don't even know. So maybe that, to be fair, I don't know who owns High Dive, who's backing that at the highest level. But still, you and I have talked about High Dive before. High Dive has some very interesting stuff. They do some very interesting stuff. They're not in their beta anymore, so it's $8 a month. We missed their beta, Tristan. You can't pay $4 a month. But still, some of the stuff that they had was very interesting, where they had subs, but I think they had subs not only in different languages, I thought, but in different colors as well.
Right.
Or did they have dubs in different languages? They had something like that. Where, like, I think you and I talked about it off podcast. For Akame ga Kill, I think they had, like, the English dub and the Spanish.
Right.
That was not a random cut. Anyway, Tristan, you wanted to mention something in the article itself, because even though we can speculate all day long, but how about we report on the fucking news? Tristan, would you like to mention something that was actually talked about in the article itself?
Yeah, I mean, it makes a statement about how AT&T plans to fold the subscription, advertising and content company into Warner Media, which AT&T created after the acquisition of Time Warner in June. So the same CEO from Honor Media is still running things, will continue to run the company, but the only thing that I'm worried about with that is that it sounds like they could roll Crunchyroll into like a package that they would have.
Yes. Well, there's a few interesting things that we should mention. So it's a few things. One, we should mention that the thing that sucks the most, because sometimes I think as fans of nerd shit, I'm saying this about you, I'm saying this about us as a whole, like everybody, we think, oh no, what could happen to this or that? And it's just like, the first thing we should mention is people are going to be losing jobs, regardless. When someone says we're going to fold this into us, that never means that everyone's going to keep their jobs. That means that we're folding it into us. If we have two guys or two gals or just two people doing the same job, one of you's going to go, and it's probably the person who's been here before this other company was assimilated into us.
Yeah.
So there's probably going to be layoffs, which is always fucking great. Another thing like that you mentioned, yes, Tristan, the fact that Warner Media, I almost forgot about this, Warner Media / Time Warner, they were acquired by AT&T. We should note that does include WB or CW, Cartoon Network, Adult Swim. So from an anime perspective, though, it is interesting only because that could potentially, that could create some very interesting things for Toonami.
Yeah.
And Toonami coexisting with Crunchyroll. I don't know if we're gonna get like those kids WB crossovers where it's like Toonami is on Crunchyroll for a week. It's like, wait, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Reverse, Crunchyroll is on Toonami for a week. Everything's subbed. Wait, what? The Crunchyroll mascot is like voiced over by Wendy Lee.
Oh
Have you seen the Crunchyroll mascot? Like red hair, like the, you know what I'm talking about, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah. She just gets voiced over by Wendy Lee. She just takes over the fucking Absolution.
No.
Is that the ship that they have now? What's the new ship that Tom has? Is it still the Absolution, or is it?
It might be another make, but I'm not sure. It might be a different ship.
Okay.
Yeah.
Either way. Yes, that would be, yeah. Because question, it's AT&T isn't the one that has Go 90, right? Wasn't that a different?
Yeah, I think that was something different. That might have been Verizon.
Thank you. Yes. Which, of course, again, Verizon with Go 90, even though I think a lot of us have been sleeping on that, that's the new vernacular that kids use, Tristan, a lot of us haven't been paying attention to it. Go 90 could also, out of nowhere, be like, ha ha huzzah! Because Go 90 has gotten a lot of toku, which I'm like, hey, but like, I don't know what they have in terms of anime.
Right.
It's very interesting. Wait, what? Never mind. I just Google searched Go 90, Tristan.
Yeah.
Verizon is shutting down its original app, Go 90. Well, you know fucking what?
Well,
you know fucking what?
There you go.
Never mind. There's a reason why. Apparently, all of us sleeping on it caused its demise. All right, then. Never freaking mind. Anyway, that's another thing, too. Okay, so we should also mention this as well, I guess. Now, that I think we could wrap it up with this, but I still want to mention this point. And Tristan, please jump in with this as well. If a company on its own, and yes, technically owned by Otter Media, but still, a company on its own like Crunchyroll, if it's not delivering in certain ways, or if there's some issues, when they're by themselves, they can self-correct. Yes, they're doing this as a business, but there is a level of fandom there, arguably.
Right.
Arguably. When you have a major corporation step in like AT&T, if things aren't doing so hot, and Crunchyroll, if they weren't doing so hot by themselves, they could, get rid of this, change up that, change up this. Would you surmise, I guess, if they are not doing so well, could AT&T essentially pull the plug?
I mean, I guess
I don't know.
Maybe.
Arguably, is that too much? Is that too scare tactics? Is that too much like paranoia on my end?
I mean, I don't want to think about that, but yeah, no,
okay.
The thought is there. Like,
yeah,
I don't see why they couldn't technically.
Yes, the only reason why it came to mind is
for doing it, but
it would not be good for the industry. But the reason why I'm bringing this up though is because of the fact that Go 90 is a new service. And just like with Amazon Strike, it was just another major company like, we can do this whole anime streaming thing. And then they just fucking tanked.
I think the idea is that Crunchyroll's been around for a bit longer, and they have a collection that can kind of show that it's worth it. When you're something new, when you're just starting up, and you may not have an extensive library like that, it's hard to compete.
Well, and what's interesting, too, I would like to note about Amazon. They still have anime on Amazon Video. That was the weird thing about it, too. They still had anime on Amazon Video. They were just trying to entice you with Anime Strike with a few new anime that season, or anime sequels to other seasons of a certain anime, whatever it was. And they were trying to entice you by going, how about you get into our double paywall with these anime that aren't going to be anywhere else? Right. And it was like, no, I won't do that. That's stupid. In case of Go 90, though, I actually thought, from what I saw, it looked very interesting. I just never... I do wonder, maybe the market is satisfied. Maybe the market, at least in terms of anime streaming services, maybe they're good. It's either Crunchyroll, it's Funimation service. Not just Funimation, but there's also, that Verve, VRV. Mm. Or there's High Dive, and if you want, and if you're a part of, if you have Netflix and you also get anime on Netflix, if you have Prime, you also get anime on Prime. Maybe the market's good. So but I don't know. Maybe this won't change anything. I'm just saying that, like, I do wonder if, like we said way earlier, it's going to get to the point where we're going to have AT&T say, hey, here's our bundle. Pay $30 to get all of this. And Crunchyroll will be a part of that, and Crunchyroll might not be its own separate thing because they might want to get anime fans to sub to that online this is that online AT&T service.
Yeah, that would suck.
That would definitely suck, because I think Crunchyroll's freemium model really is what helps it.
Yeah.
And it's really what helped it survive. And I think, it's something that not everyone can do. Not every streaming service can do, obviously. Yeah. But I do think that freemium, at least, and I say freemium, I know it means different in the mobile world. Freemium is a free game, and then there's microtransactions. That's how it is for mobile gaming or for other gaming. But what I'm referring to it here is having those ads and then being able to, pay a little bit if you want, pay a subscription fee to get rid of those ads.
Right.
I think that's a great model. I think it worked well with it. And I don't know. I think that if they get rid of that for some reason or another, I think it'll be a huge mistake.
Yeah.
And it'll be a blow not just to Crunchyroll, but I really think it would be a blow to the industry as well, because we don't have a lot of anime. We have anime, the market is satisfied because Crunchyroll also exists with other free services.
Yeah.
You get rid of Crunchyroll.
Oh, that's going to be a power vacuum.
Yeah, that's going to be a vacuum that I'm not saying people can't fulfill, but it'll be really rough until it is fulfilled.
Yeah.
Or at least until maybe AT&T goes, oh, we fucked up, and then they put it back out for free.
Yeah, no.
Again, I don't want to be that guy or be that person online who tries to, because even when I do Matt rants over at or those guys play YouTube channel, I try not to be the guy that's just like, well, this signals the end of everything.
Yeah.
Pack it all up. I say that as a joke. I said that as a joke in the beginning of this article.
Because a positive thing we could say, to be hopeful about this. Obviously Crunchy's got a big selection, and they're a good service. Granted, they still do have problems from time to time, especially with bigger titles, with watching Super when it premiered.
Which, funnily enough, Tristan, one could argue, with the backing of AT&T, some of these problems could be fixed.
Right.
Because money.
Exactly.
Well, because money does fix some of that stuff. The only issue...
Being able to get stronger servers who can, handle that big of a rush of people coming in all at once.
Yeah. Also, the problem, too, is that even though they do need to get those, I would imagine it only came up, even though people have talked about other shows as well where it's happened, it only came up with Super. I would imagine, because there'd be people who had subscriptions, and then there'd be people like you and I who were like, we don't have subs, but millions of us are going to try to watch it at once.
Right, yeah.
So we'd go from, on a Saturday night, we got maybe 500,000 to over 9 million! Immediately swarming.
Right.
No, because imagine how many people in the U.S., both new Dragon Ball fans and older Dragon Ball fans, that were like, oh, that airs tonight? All right, click. Yeah. And Crunchyroll servers are like, yeah, we're burning to the ground. We're burning to the ground. But yeah, so just like the Funimation Sony thing, I think we mentioned it when we talked about that story, could mean more money, less problems, or it could mean more money, more problems. Because if that money goes for some reason or another, like if Sony pulled out of Funimation,
right,
then it's like, wait, all this money was invested into this, and now that money's gone.
Right.
We'll have to see what happens. I just do believe, though, that we are going to... it's funny. When it comes to video games, I'm like, we're not going to a digital future. That's terrible. It's a terrible idea. But with something like Netflix or something like anime, yeah, we're going to digital. There's still room for physical, and there should always be.
Right.
But we're going to digital, definitely. I have no qualms talking about we're going to digital there. We've been in digital since 07, 05. You know what I'm saying? We've been, anime fandom has been digital for years now.
Right.
Whereas with video games, very hard to do that when your latest game is 50 gigs or more. Very hard to stream that digitally.
Right.